This episode of Hopecast is brought to you by 901 PT. Solve your pain and stay active for a lifetime. Movement is medicine.
Lights, camera, action.
You're tuned in to Hopecast, a monthly rundown of all things Chris Hope Foundation. Our host, CHF Executive Director Chris Hope and publicist Beth Wilson come together to share the latest news, upcoming events, sponsorship and volunteer opportunities, and so much more. Are you ready? Let's get started.
We are so excited to have Michael Wiggins here today, president of Bonheur Children's Hospital. Michael, welcome. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Well, it is my pleasure. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, just tell us a little bit about yourself, and we want to kind of get into your move to Memphis and kind of what led you to Memphis and Bonheur.
Absolutely. Well, thrilled to be here. I've been here, hard to believe, almost 4 years now. With the pandemic, it feels like 10. But it's been great. Memphis has just been incredibly welcoming to us, and we came from Dallas. And having anybody who's lived in Texas, any of your listeners who've been in Texas, it's hard to get out of Texas once you're there, right? It sort of gets a hold of you. And we weren't really looking to move, but Bonheur has got such a great reputation in the children's hospital world that as soon as I was contacted about the former CEO, Mary Armour, retiring and whether or not I might have some interest in coming and taking a look, clearly I did. And when I got here, found a really special place.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So, being the president of a hospital, that's an important role. So tell us a little bit the responsibilities to be the president of the hospital.
Yeah, well, and it is an awesome responsibility. There's no doubt about that. And the way I look at it is it's about making sure we have the right people in the right places. Bonheur, we are fortunate to have great facilities and great technology. Really world class. But what's really the heart of Bonheur are the people, because without them, the building, the technology, none of that matters. And so I feel like a significant part of my role is just making sure we have got the right people, that they have the right resources, and it's sort of like a Major League Baseball manager. Nobody comes to the stadium to see me.
Right.
I've got to make sure the players have what they need to do.
Right. You know, it's funny because when people talk about Bonheur, that's the first thing that comes out of their mouth is about the people. Yeah. You know, the how they're treated there and how nice everybody is. That's always the first thing that comes out of their mouth. It's not the treatment and the doctors, but it's always about the people. So that says a lot right there.
Well, it does, and it's at every part of our organization. I've heard people talk about how our security officer helped them find where they were going, or the housekeeper who noticed that they hadn't eaten that day, and let's get mom and dad down to the cafeteria to get something to eat. And it's really just taking care of all of those needs so that we can really focus on making sure the child gets the healing and treatment that he or she needs.
That's awesome.
Been fortunate to walk inside Bonheur so many times to volunteer with CHF and with other organizations, and like you said, it really is so about the people. They are so welcoming from the second that you hit the parking lot to walking on campus to walking inside the building. You just feel so welcome. It's so uplifting, as hard as things can be inside those walls. It's just such a beautiful, special place.
Well, it really is. And I think part of that is that our employees, we refer to as associates, really feel the sense of the community and the love that this community has for Bonheur. And I'll tell you, that's one of the things that when I came here to visit really attracted me to this organization, is because I was at a great children's hospital in Dallas. There are other great children's hospitals, but I've never experienced the way the community embraces this organization. And I think there's a sense of pride that our associates have in being a part of that and truly representing the community and serving the community in a meaningful way.
Absolutely. And so speaking of the community, I think that has attributed to all the accolades that Bonheur has amassed over the years. And so, all the Leapfrog and grade A ratings, U.S. World News and
Right.
News and World
Almost like
Report,
every
all these
year.
things. Yeah. It's really impressive to see. And so that's, I think that pride, that internal pride that employees have, that associates have, that then translates into the external stuff. It's so powerful. It really is.
Well, it is, and it's very satisfying on some level at the organization to know that we have these external organizations, whether it's Leapfrog, as you mentioned, or U.S. News and World Report, who they don't know the heart. Really, they just look at us on paper.
Right.
And are we doing our jobs? Are we being effective? For a child that comes to us because they have a complex heart condition, is their care good quality care? And to have that objective view at what we're doing and to still say that we're one of the best in the nation, that's incredibly rewarding. And I'll also say credit again to our people. When you look at children's hospitals across the country, we're a mid-sized children's hospital. There are plenty who are a lot bigger than us. It is hard for a mid-sized children's hospital to do really well in those rankings because just the economics and the investment that take place. And so, to some extent, we're punching above our weight class a little bit when we get those sort of awards. And so I'm so proud for our team that we're building those kinds of programs that really get that national recognition.
Now, you say you're a mid-sized hospital, but as a matter of fact, I drove by the hospital today, but I see there's a lot of construction going on outside. Yeah, so why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I think for all of your listeners, I've got to apologize if you're driving around Popular and Dunlap.
Yeah, I was like, where are these cones going?
We live downtown. If you're on Front Street,
I was like, where are these cones? Where are we going here?
Well, I was down here. My wife and I were driving by the hospital on the way to an event, and she looked at the road and she said, "Is this your fault?" And I said, "No, it's going to get better, right?"
Right.
But yes, we are doing
Price of progress.
Yeah, that's right. A little pain to get there. But yeah, we're expanding, and specifically the areas that we're expanding is the ability to care for the most complex patients who we take care of. Okay. Some of your listeners, if they're healthcare oriented, they'll know that a hospital room is not necessarily a hospital room. We have different types of rooms. Some are designed for children that have just sort of general medical, surgical problems. Say, they've had an appendectomy or maybe they've got asthma and they're in the hospital. There are other types of our rooms that are really devoted to our most complex children. And these would be children with major heart conditions or maybe extremely premature births or what have you. And these types of rooms have a lot of different types of equipment, different lightings, and candidly, they're pretty expensive to build. But we've learned that we don't have enough of those rooms. Because of the amazing programs that our team have built, we have children coming from all over the country, really all over the world, to Le Bonheur.
Right, I was going to ask you about that. I mean, I know you take care of a lot of the people, a lot of the kids in this area or just outside this area. I was wondering how much more, outside of this area do you cover?
Yeah, well, and it's large. We last year took care of children from 45 states here at Le Bonheur, as well as several international locations as well. As a matter of fact, it seems like 2 or 3 times a month I'm signing a letter to the U.S. Embassy for a child to come over and receive care. And so it is very wide. And while I get excited and we like to kind of brag a little bit about the children we're bringing in from all over the world, the thing that gets me really excited is that means that level of care is available to the kid in Orange Mound or to the kid in Fraser or the one in Germantown.
Right.
That they don't have to travel. They're right here in their community.
Exactly.
They've got that level of care.
Exactly.
Access and equity, I think, are so important. So it's ensuring that you're caring for people where they are, right?
That's right.
Meeting people where they are. So I think that's really powerful.
Exactly.
So talk to us a little bit about the specialty. So, I think one of the biggest things Le Bonheur is known for is the cardiology, pediatric cardiology. So there's the Le Bonheur Heart Institute. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, there are several programs of ours that we've really made significant investment in to make sure that they are world-class. The Heart Institute, as you mentioned, is one of those. Recognition not only with U.S. News and World Report, but also some heart specifics. So there's a certification for being a congenital heart program. So these would be children that are born with heart conditions, but now, thanks to the technology and the skills of our teams, they're going into adulthood. And so we've got to figure out how to take care of adults with childhood heart conditions.
Wow.
So, that's a cool problem
Yeah.
to deal with,
Yeah.
Oh my
right?
gosh.
So the Heart Institute is one. Our Neurosciences Institute for neurology, neurosurgery. Again, world-class leaders in that area. We have a wonderful relationship with St. Jude on many of these programs where we support their patients as well. And so the Heart Institute, the Neurosciences Institute, and then several of others of our programs that are just, again, very impressive in the work they do. I mentioned neonatal intensive care, these very, very tiny premature babies. As a matter of fact, I was touring the unit earlier this morning, and they had a just over 300-gram baby there. That if you can
Good Lord.
imagine how tiny that baby is. We
Right.
used to talk about 2 pounds being the tiniest one.
Right.
Now, we're talking about really micro
Wow.
preemies, and that baby's
What
going to go home
miracle.
at some point,
Such
right?
a miracle.
Man, I can't even having a human
Yeah,
that
that's
size.
right,
That's almost scary.
Yeah, it is. It is.
That goes to show how much of a special place y'all have over there.
Yeah, it
for
is.
sure. You mentioned St. Jude, and a lot of people don't know that a lot of the surgeries for St. Jude are done at Le Bonheur Children's Hospital. So y'all are good partners when it comes to the care of all these kids.
We are, and St. Jude's an excellent partner with us. Hopefully they would say the same about us. I think they would.
Yeah, I'm
but
sure they would.
What we have learned is not only do we do many of the surgical procedures for children they're having treatment at St. Jude, but also we've learned that the cancer treatments that children receive, unfortunately, they have consequences for their hearts and their livers and their
Right,
kidneys.
right.
And so oftentimes it's our physicians who are working with St. Jude physicians to try to deal with those kind of secondary complications of
Right,
cancer.
right.
So it's a great relationship, I think, really advancing the care for kids.
Right, and that's great because a lot of people, don't know. Everybody want to talk about, you all being two separate entities, and it's good for them to know that, no, y'all work together as a team in these critical situations. It's not one versus the other, one being better than the other, but working together for the greater good for all the kids around the world, like you say.
That's right, lifting each other up. And,
Right,
and
right.
That's, I think, the key.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, we're obviously so excited to have you here to talk about all of that. And, CHF this is the 7th year for the organization to be around. And from the get-go, Chris was adamant about partnering with Le Bonheur Children's Hospital. So we'd just love to hear from that a little bit and then talk a little bit about, I want to start getting into some of the things that, we've been able to do together. And we're so fortunate, like the Le Bonheur Pumpkin Run, which is coming up. Now you have 2 locations, which is so exciting.
Right.
Things like the Le Bonheur Garden and things like that. So just talk to us a little bit about the how this got started.
You know what? That's a good question. I believe we had got a collection of toys and a whole bunch of goodies, and I reached out to Sarita about who do I contact to give these toys and all these goodies to, and then she told me to go reach out to the people at Child Life, and ever since that day. Child Life, your Child Life specialists, they are awesome.
They're so amazing.
Yeah, they're awesome. I've been working with them since day one.
Yeah.
They're like family. They're like, they like my number one priority. I like being able to do stuff for the hospital as a whole, but it is so easy to do simple things for them. I think in the past couple of years, it's the most I've ever bought Play-Doh and Uno cards, because it's always in demand, and coloring books. To the point we even design our own coloring books for the kids to have. And of course, the more you talk to people, the more you learn about the different needs and the different ways that we can help. And it's been wonderful. I love being able to go there and have Amy Ford, who does all the event planning, to reach out to us, one in our team, to come be a part of the event. As a matter of fact, we'll be there tomorrow for Heroes Day.
Superhero Day.
Yeah, Superhero Day. And the relationship, is incredible. They're like family to me. They're like our top priority.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, and I talked a minute ago about how just the community love for this organization is just so invigorating to us all. And you're such a shining example of that. I remember one of the first interactions I had with the community when I moved here was your little car out of the pumpkin run. And it's like, who is this guy?
Yes.
And then I get to hear the story. And I think, yeah, okay, we're in the right place with
Oh,
that
yeah.
sort of interaction. And, all of the things that we're doing that you have supported us in, whether it's sort of the Kid of the Month thing we're
Right.
doing, and helping just
Right.
kids still be kids while they're in the
Yes, that's
hospital.
right.
even,
Exactly.
and let them know that they're not forgotten.
Right.
People are still thinking
Yeah.
about them even when they're in the hospital. And so many other ways. I mean, we can talk about Le Bonheur Green. We can talk about all these ways that you have invested in making our hospital a truly special place. And we can't say enough about what that means, not only to our patients, but also to our employees, our associates there.
Awesome. So I was there at the ribbon cutting for Le Bonheur Green. As a matter of fact, all of us was there.
Yes, we were.
Yeah,
So
even
much.
Viola was there. And so incredible. I mean, I could see the smile on your face. You like one happy guy. I mean, you was like, yes.
Well, and where my office is, it looks out onto Le Bonheur
wow.
Green, and so I get to watch families every day using that
Cool.
space as it was intended. And I know you know the story. Maybe some of your listeners don't. That I mean, it started with a family that was in the hospital. Their child had been there for a long time, and the doctor finally came in and said, "You know what? You need to get that baby outside." And there's really nowhere to do that. There wasn't anywhere to do that around our hospital. But thanks to your generosity, amazing generosity, and others in our community, 100% of this Le Bonheur Green has been funded by our community. And so now families have a chance to get outside, enjoy a little bit of nature, and really let that healing occur that can really only occur because of nature.
Fresh air.
Right,
That's right.
right.
That's right.
You know, I mean, that's another one of those little things that people don't think about that means a whole lot. Because like you said, otherwise there's still within the walls of a hospital, walking up and down the same halls. And I heard that even while construction was going on, people were still going out there to just hang out, be a part of it and, just have a little time for themselves. I mean, just to get a little fresh air and just have a little moment of peace and just be.
That's right.
Yeah, so I mean, I know that's crucial for them because of all the different stories that I've heard from the many different families. That sometimes you just need to just step away.
Yeah, that's right.
And so be able to create that is great.
Yeah, and I think it was a perfect. It was so perfect for Chris Hope Foundation to, give to that, to donate to Le Bonheur Green because of what CHF stands for, and that
Right,
to
exactly.
assist families with because yes, it's horrible what these children have to go through and their treatment and all that, but the impact on these families too, and it's so amazing that you have the FedEx Family House and these amazing facilities to care for these families, but then there's the other portion too, right? That they may have to be here for extended periods of time. They could lose their jobs, or they might be out of a job for a little while, or things like that. And that's where organizations like Chris Hope Foundation come in. And so enabling families to have a space to be together, to start healing, to get that fresh air, which is so important for overall well-being, and helping the family unit. I mean, I think that there was just such amazing synergy there. So
Well, and you've clearly recognized, whether it's through Chris Hope Foundation House or the other things that you recognize, this is a whole family
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
involved in this situation. And so, even looking out at Le Bonheur Green, there's a lot of siblings that are out there too, just being able
Exactly,
to still
right.
be kids, even though their brother or sister or whomever's in the hospital.
Right.
And so recognizing that really we are centered on the child, but it's around the entire family, helping that child heal.
you were talking about the first time you had an interaction with Chris and with the Promobile, so we love that. It's a little smart car. So that is the pace car for the Le Bonheur Pumpkin Run, which is coming up, the 18th annual, on October 18th. How fun. But that's in East Memphis. That's something that I adore. I love that race. It's such a fun race, except for that hill at the very end.
Right.
But it is such a great race. And then so there's a second location for the first time this year in Tupelo.
That's exactly
Awesome.
right. Yeah. So you're going to have to choose which one you win.
You know
You're
what?
gonna
And
win
that's
this one
and
or
that's
you win-
tough. That's tough because I'm sitting here and I'm talking to the team. Okay, so I need you to go to Tupelo. I need you to go to Memphis. Then somebody said, well, I can't do Tupelo because I got to be out of town. Then it came down to, man, it's like I'm the one that's going to have to go to Tupelo. I don't want to go to Tupelo. I want to hang with my family here in Memphis. But at the same time, it's like it's cool to be able to go out to Tupelo and meet some new people and, talk about what we do, our partnership with you guys. And, of course, get some fans of the CHF car as well.
Too. Right, one here, one in Tupelo.
Exactly.
Well, and that's, great for us. And I'll tell you, I was down in Tupelo. It's been a couple of months ago, not long after we announced we were doing the one down there, and they were so excited about that. We have great relationships down there. Last year, I think we took care of maybe 18,000 kids from Mississippi.
Wow.
And so you just don't think about the geography, right? Those kids are coming to us. So that's home for us as well. And so for them to get to see you and your organization as such a great partner in what you do, I think it's going to be great. And it make them really feel like they're a part of this.
And let me guess, you're going to be in Memphis.
I'll be in Memphis.
Yeah, I kind of figured that.
The disappointing thing, though, is you have the pace car there, and as soon as the race starts, I never see it again. It's so far in front of me, and where I'm running, I never see the thing.
We had a guy. God, I can't think of his name. He is so fast. I think he moved to Knoxville, so I don't think he'll be there this year. Literally, huh?
No, he moved to Florida.
He is so fast. We literally had to have a pace car for him and a pace car for everybody else because he ended up leaving everybody, and then everybody's like, "Okay, so where do we go?" Chris. His name is Chris. I just thought about his name is Chris. Yeah, this guy. He literally just every race I had, he always took off hard. I'm
so slow at this point. You might need a third car. You might need one back in the back somewhere. So I'm figuring out where I'm going.
Hey, I know the route. I can show you the shortcut.
Okay.
Yeah, I know a shortcut.
I need a shortcut. Turn that 5K in about 2.5.
There you go.
So 4 years you've been at Bonheur now. What's on the horizon?
Well, so a lot of what we're doing is around what we've talked about, the growth of the physical plant so that we can begin taking care of the children that would need us. I mentioned that we're expanding our critical care capacity. Today in our neonatal ICU, we have 60 beds and we had 56 children. Wow. And that was a slow day. Wow. Usually it's 58, 59 children, and so we've got to expand that. As I mentioned before, it's not just about expanding the facility, which should be ready in a little bit over a year, but we've got to find the people too.
But wasn't the ICU recently expanded?
So what we did was we took some of our existing rooms and we turned them into critical care rooms to give us a little bit of a bridge while we're trying to build because, again, we just didn't have enough room.
Right.
A lot of our focus is about getting those new rooms open, hiring and training our staff who are going to be there, and then also continuing to think about our region. You mentioned Tupelo. We've got a location in Tupelo. We want to continue looking at how do we expand our services to those children in North Mississippi.
Right.
Jackson as well, right?
There's Jackson as well. You're right. Just a few months ago, we actually opened a new inpatient hospital over at Jackson-Madison County General Hospital. So we've got a Bonheur Children's Hospital over there.
That's great.
And so we need to keep thinking about how do we expand within our region. So to your point earlier, Beth, that kids have access to care close to home, and we want to make sure that there's a Bonheur location close to where they are.
That's wonderful.
Wow. With so many kids coming from, like you said, all over the world, you're expanding now. We're talking maybe I'm just saying 5 years down the road, it might be a point where you have to have to tear down another building and, because you can't build on top.
Right.
So you can only go out. Yeah. What is the thinking process, when it comes to expanding? Because I know you guys always have to think ahead. Like you said, the ICU is already full on a slow day. And, unfortunately, those numbers probably won't go down. Right. How do you all go about planning for the future when it comes to expanding?
Well, and we're trying to do some of that planning in our current expansion. So even though we're expanding a certain number of beds in our Heart Institute as well as our neonatal intensive care unit, we also have some shelf space in that building that we're building that we think will allow us for a number of years to continue growing within that new structure. But you're right, we do have to keep thinking 5, 10, 15 years down the road of where that next expansion is going to be because what we're finding again, a great problem to have is that as our physicians are becoming better and better at helping these children survive childhood illness, well, that means they're going to be with us longer, thankfully.
Yeah.
And we've got to figure out how to continue taking care of them.
Right. Okay.
Care, for
That's
sure.
right. That's right.
Well, Michael, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for leading such an amazing organization. What a blessing Bonheur is to this community,
Oh, yeah.
and obviously to the region. We're all so lucky to have it, and what an honor it is to take part in CHF so that we can volunteer with Bonheur. It's very rewarding.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to
Absolutely.
come be here with us. You know, part of what we do, because we love being able to give to you and give to the hospital and give to the kids and put smiles on their faces, and to have the president of the hospital come to us and talk about what's going on and our partnership and how we can work together and involve the community. I mean, that means a lot to me personally.
Well, I'm just so thrilled to do it. I appreciate the invitation, and I just hope that your listeners to your podcast, the other people who are great supporters of CHF, understand the impact that you're making right here in Memphis, in the region, around the world. And so thanks to all of them for their support of your organization, because
Exactly.
you're paying it back.
Right. Well, awesome. Well, here he is, everybody, the president of Bonheur Children's Hospital, Mr. Michael Wiggins. Thank you so much, sir.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right.